Mm.
Got it.
Very good. Okay, so we have a small group today, but we'd like to share some of our favorites, some of our books that we really enjoy using in extensive reading in our classrooms. And who would like to go first? Don't start all at once. Okay, all right. I'll do one because I've got quite a few. I've just happened to be in a space that has a lot of books at the moment. So my first is this one, and if anyone can please pronounce this, I should be, yes, exactly. Popocatépetl and Iztaccatl. I'm sorry, Mexico. This is quite a interesting myth from Mexico, and besides the names being interesting, it is quite good. It's about the two highest volcanoes in Mexico, and the myth about those, about an Aztec warrior and his true love, and you find out how they became volcanoes. So this is from the Our World Readers series, and there's a few books from this that I use for all level readers. This is what they call a level 5, and I've got it as a Yomi Yasusa 1.4. So it's pretty accessible for lots of different grades and levels, adults to junior high, I'd say. They've also got another one about the origins of lightning, which is an African tale about angry sheep and goats, which is quite nice. So I tend to use that whenever there's a thunderstorm outside. But unfortunately, somebody has that out at the moment. So there we go. That's my first recommendation.
Sandra, for that, did you say owl as in the bird, Owl World, or our?
Our, yes. Okay. Our World.
All right.
So yes, that's National Geographic Cengage Learning. So it's a really good series because they're quite short, and for students who really don't want to read, I don't want to read anything too long, or I don't have much time. They have a lot of variety, and it's quite good pitched for those readers. So the whole series I have, of course, and it's really good. Yeah.
I imagine since it's National Geographic, there's lots of nice pictures inside as well.
Yeah, well, this one has, illustrations.
Sure, because it's
yes, some of them do. So yeah, but I really like this series. So yeah, that's my first one. All right, Tag, who's next? Pat, I know you've got something ready to go there.
Yep. So the books that I'm most interested in right now are not published. So these are books that my students have been making. They've been writing them together in groups of 2 and kind of collaborating on a Google document and then adding illustrations by typing in prompts in English to Stable Diffusion. And that's maybe the part that I like the most, is because I could have the students really look for illustrations that help their story along without it becoming an art class, because each time they wanted a different iteration of a picture, they modified what they were writing a little bit. Like a woman in a dress. A young woman in a dress. Long dress. Mm-hmm. So up until now, their focus on pictures has been kind of a detriment to the English part, and now it's finally working together. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's some kind of fever dream pictures in here.
Oh, right. Oh,
wow.
So at first it just looks like people chasing.
Until you see
until you really look in, it's like, oh, those aren't really faces.
Oh, wow.
That's an ice cream.
Great. Mhm.
But if rather than kind of describe it, you mind if I read through? So this is kind of a choose your own adventure story that the students made.
Mhm.
Here's the opening picture. But one day you visit a hotel after you finish sightseeing to travel in Emarda. The hotel's name is Arga Devi. You make a reservation at the hotel this time. You enter the hotel and ask an entrance staff about checking in my rooms 9216. An entrance staff says, I could check Mr. Bosey's your name. This is your room key. You receive your room key from an entrance staff. You are guided to your room by a hotel man. You stay in the room for one day. After, the next morning, you find a man in your room when you woke up at that time. Go to the next page. Who are you? You said to the man lying in the room. But the man doesn't say anything. You said again, who are you? Please wake up. You understand. The man is dead. And you shout like yesterday. What's the matter, Mr. Bosey? The hotel man heard your shout and came to your room. Hey, a person is dead, you said. Why? You killed the man? The hotel man. No, I don't know. I found a person when I wake up. So who killed a person? If you are afraid of this situation and you go out of the hotel, go to page 3. If you want to look around the room, go to page 4. So what do we do, ladies?
Look around. How about you? What do you think, Kimberly?
I don't know. I'm quite creeped out. So already.
Don't worry, every ending's creepy.
Oh no.
It is very creepy.
Patrick, it's very late at night here.
We don't want to give
So-
Kimberly
so
bad
4?
dreams.
You and hotel man search in your room.
Okay, so that's not blood.
That's not blood. I want a hint. Why did the man die in my room, you said? After 1 hour, hotel man says, why does the man have ice cream? Ice cream? Why, you said. Ice cream is a special hint. Let me see. No? No idea? And you? No idea too, hotel man said. If you try to eat this ice cream, go to page 7. If you want a mystery and horror, go to page 8.
Oh, that's not much of a choice. I don't really want to eat the ice cream, but I don't really want the horror. Anyone?
No.
Okay, I'll take the ice cream if it means I don't
Yeah.
get the horror. Yeah.
Oh, the dog's even growling. Well, this ice cream is real. I'll try to eat it. Dog's going crazy. You said it'd eat this ice cream. The hotel man was very surprised. What are you doing, Mr. Bosey? This tastes very good. And I want to eat everything. I want to eat you. You change your body. You have long tail and tooth like a knife. Oh my gosh, help me. The hotel man shouts and goes out. You don't remember. You ate the man who was lying in your room. And you don't know this story is your dream.
Oh,
The end.
God.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
All right. And our
Let's not have another.
writers profiles.
I thought you were going to read us another horror story.
So Maiko, she loves mystery novels, especially she loves hyoka. The story's keyword is ice cream. By the way, her favorite ice cream is azuki bar, and so on. But I want to eat high price ice cream. Please give me one. And a picture of our university's goal.
That's really good. Like, are you going to try and publish these? That's a really good story.
I'm thinking of maybe over the summer doing one more round because there's grammatical errors that haven't been
Editing,
fixed
yeah.
and stuff. But I've thought about seeing if the students would agree to having this go on Kindle Direct Publishing.
I was going to say Kindle. That would be great. Or even, on-demand publishing for people.
Yeah,
like
that's what I meant. Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
So just set the price that it covers the printing costs,
yeah.
and then they can order as many as they want for family, friends, and our school can order them for open campus and stuff like that.
It's really good, but you should put them under a brand. Like, you should have like a, I don't know, company, not a company, but a,
Yeah, probably our English intensive course.
right. That's a great
Nice.
idea.
Yeah. How long did it take them to write these stories?
Because I worry about them using translation software in irresponsible ways, we usually have them, so like the first 2 pages, write it in class, in your notebook. And then, okay, you've got a choice here. The next step, you write this one, you write that one in the next class. So over about a month and maybe a month and a week.
Oh,
That's a great idea. I really think that's a wonderful idea. And being able to have them published so that their friends and family can read it as well. I think that's a wonderful way to encourage them to read and write more.
Yeah, I think my hope is also that they enjoy and they appreciate the graded readers even more after they've read one. Because part of the advice that I give them is not just grammar advice, but a lot of times they'll use a dictionary and say, well, who's going to read this? I might understand you, but is this book for me? So kind of making their word choices to basically target high school students or people that are a little less experienced than them.
That's a great idea. Okay, well, perhaps who would like to be next? Kimberly, would you like to share your recommendation for Japanese?
How about we do Jackie first, and then that's you guys. You're all like English, and then the people who only want to watch English stuff, they don't have to skip ahead.
Okay, well in that case, I'll quickly squeeze one in, so to speak, before Jackie does her thing, because after this is another recommendation for me. I have, like I say, I've got lots of books next to me, and since we've just talked about horror, this is not a graded reader. This is a series that is designed for native English-speaking children. The Scholastic Branches series. There are a lot of different series, and this one's been quite popular. I've got a high school student who's currently working her way through this series. The Notebook of Doom, about a little boy who moves to a small town in America called Monster, and him and his friends find this Notebook of Doom that has details about all the different strange creatures that seem to inhabit this small town. And there's 13 in the series, and followed by 4 Binder of Doom books. And it's good. It's not too high level that someone who has been reading for a while can feel comfortable with. Yes, it's not graded, so there are not, and it's not really leveled, but it's fun. The illustrations are great. This is the balloon goons, which are these balloon things that they have at used car lots, you know, and they sort of come alive. And yeah, the series is really, really good. So yes, if we're talking about
So
horror,
like a lot of the monsters are kind of things that we might see in everyday life,
Yep.
but just kind of been reimagined as a monster.
that's night crawlers, Day of the Night Crawlers. So yes, they have the, what is it, the Octoschnoz, which is like a creature with 8 noses. There's, yeah, that kind of thing. But it's fun. It's a little bit creepy, but not too creepy. So just to counter the horror from and now to a different kind of horror, and I'm not meaning Jackie, I'm meaning what you've chosen to talk about, of course, which I will provide.
Yeah, first I have a question. What ages do you think are good for this?
There's that's a difficult question to answer because it's more about English level. Like I say, I've got high school. I would say, obviously, that they're aimed for young native speaking kids, grade 2 or 3. But because it's not super childish, it's actually quite amusing. I think I would, and I know people who are junior high school, and university level, actually, and adults too, who have enjoyed this series. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, okay. I was wondering about the like childishness level,
Yeah,
like if it would be too like
it's silly fun rather than too, yeah. And I've got it down as a Yomiyasu 2.5. I take out the point. So yeah. So yes.
Oh, okay. Good. Oh, thank you. It sounds really fun. And nice that it's not graded, right? Like, and if students can read that, so it's so motivating. Like, this wasn't just written for me, right? This was written for, people who have grown up speaking English, and I can read it and understand it. So that's really cool. Oh, nice.
So would you like to
Yeah. Do. Yes. Thank you, Sandra, for being my visual aid holder today. Yes. So The Godfather is, well, just the story that many people know because of watching the movies. I watched them a long time ago and didn't really remember. I mean, the basic gist, right? Yeah, lots of dying and mafia and whatever, but it was really interesting to read. And the kind of explanations behind the things that happen, like there's like mafia code that I have no idea about, right? And kids who who don't know this story at all would have absolutely no idea about, but they do a really good job of explaining it, but not making it seem like, I don't know, childish or like condescending or something. It's like, oh, interesting. Oh, that's why they killed him, or that's why they, whatever, punished that guy or whatever. And I thought that was really good. And the character development is well done. And yeah, I really enjoyed reading it. And so yeah, I think it is a higher level. It's what did you say it was? A level 7?
This is Penguin Readers level 7, which is Yomiyasu of 4.7. So it's quite
so it's
high level. B2 area is what they're talking on the surface scale.
Yeah, so it is higher level, and it's not a thin book. But if if you like to read and you want a story that continues on and not just finished in an hour, right? It's really good for that, I think. So yeah, there you go.
And I think also for adult readers as well. So rather than just thinking of university level, we often have students who have a good grasp of English, but reading extensively definitely helps them consolidate that. And this level is really, really good for that. So,
yeah, and it's that kind of story that, adults can enjoy as well. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes.
I think also like movie-based books. At the university level, teachers often kind of shy away from them because they're worried about students just watching the movie. But with adult learners, they're there to read the book. They might watch the movie to support their reading. So I think with adult readers who have shown that they really want to do the reading, movie-based books are gold. Because they can get that scaffolding if they need it.
Yes.
Very good point. Yeah. Okay. Well, let me insert, like I say, surrounded by books. So this series I'd like to recommend. This is from I Talk You Talk Press, published out of Japan, of course. And this is their level 4 book level, which I put it at around about a 2.5 Yomi Yasusa. So probably around the same as that. But this is a graded reader, and there are 4 books in this. It's not really a series, it's an ongoing story, as in that they have the same characters throughout. James Winchester used to be a spy, but now he's older and he's retired, but he gets involved in this I don't know, race across Europe of different spy types, very James Bondish. The first book's based in Italy, and he actually meets up with a woman who he used to have a thing for when he was very young, and they kind of reconnect, and they're both in their 60s, and it's just very, very well written. So the first one's in Italy, then we've got the second one. Where's that one go? Oh, Scotland, then Ireland and Britain, and then the final one, which has a person come back from his past, because he was a spy, he was based in different countries, like not officially a spy, just a diplomatic person. And one of them was Cambodia. I think it was Cambodia. Yeah, Cambodia in the 1970s, Middle East in the 80s. And this is a young boy that he had dealings with when the boy was very, very young, and he's grown up. That's not the best of people, but it's very compelling. And once again, adult readers, absolutely. University level, absolutely. High school, possibly junior high, but the subject matter is, there's nothing there's nothing graphic or anything, but it is a little bit more adult in the character and plot, but highly, highly recommend that. It's a rip-roaring journey that should be made into a movie, quite frankly. It's really that good. And it's a graded reader, so highly recommend. I Talk You Talk Press, The Blue Lace Curtain, End House, On the Run, and Killer. So it's the Modern Mysteries series. Old Secrets, Modern Mysteries. Yep.
Nice. It's nice to find ones that are more geared towards adult kind of themes, because they read the ones that are meant for, they're quite low level, and I think, oh yeah, I'm not a kid, right?
Exactly.
Well, I have university level kids, and they're like, yeah, it's easy, I can understand it, but it's like, yeah, okay. But so these are good recommendations.
Yeah. Now, Kimberly, please, Japanese extensive reading is your area of expertise. So what would you recommend for people reading or teaching extensive reading in Japanese?
So I'm going to recommend this Japanese graded reader research project group. Their website is jgrpg-sakura.com. And they are the only group that I'm aware of that is using a frequency list to create their work. And basically the way they put it together is they started creating graded readers in the relatively early 2000s, around 2004, I think. But they took 32 digitally published novels that were available at that time, and they took out the function words, and they made a frequency list of the content words. And as you can see, it ranges from the 400 word level to the 4,500 word level. So quite a substantial span. Most graded reader groups, they only go up to like the 1,500 to 2,000 word level. So this is more than double that. They also have a commitment to like more substantial stories, even from very beginners. So you can see like even in the first level, 400 words, not function words, just content words, but still around the 3,000 character mark. Even, 10,000 characters at the 550 word level. So they really do try to have like substantial stories. And this Taro no Natsuyasumi is actually one of the most popular ones. According to students who took part in my research project, they really enjoyed that story, even though the cover looks a bit boring. But it was very popular. And they have, even at the, level C, 750 words, up to like 17,000 characters. And they've just published a whole lot of new ones, which is really great. 16,000 characters, I think 42,000 characters. So really actually like full on stories. And a lot of these are adaptation of existing work. I think there's Gin something or other. Yeah, Ginda, sorry, yeah. Ginda is actually like a well-known Japanese detective person. One of my students was telling me about it, and I was like, oh, okay, I didn't realize that it was like based on like a extent work. So yeah, so they have like, I mean, it is a range. Like I think I saw a 700 word one, even a later level, but they do like really try to have like a proper like full-on story, not just I read it in 10 minutes and that was me kind of thing, which students also need that, but sometimes they do also want to sort of sink their teeth in. And yeah, as I said, this is the only group that I know of, that I'm aware of, who is using an actual frequency based list. So when students read this, they will be well prepared to read Japanese fictional novels. Yeah, so that's my recommendation.
Wow, this is great. I've looked up, I know a few of the graded, the more, I know, graded readers for Japanese, but I hadn't heard of this one until right now. So this is fantastic. Really.
It's free.
Jackie, let me load up all of my tabs on graded readers and I'll give them to you.
Please do. Yes. Thank you already.
Is it
If
free?
you don't
Thank you.
mind, Kimberly, drop those links and everything in the ERSIG Facebook group.
Oh,
Because a
okay.
bunch of people would, I mean, even people who aren't teaching, a lot of us are students of Japanese too. So I think
Yes.
a lot of
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Are
Yeah,
these online or are they paper
yeah,
books?
no, it's totally free. So to read them, you just have to create a free account, and they don't spam you or ever even, email you at all. I did email the group to ask them like a little bit about their frequency list, what was it based on, that kind of thing. They're quite happy to respond. So, if you have any questions, I'm sure you can like reach out to them and be like, hey,
Is that the same group as the ones that made JLEX?
No, so
No, that's a
JLEX
different group?
is Matsushita and I assume his research colleague Suganaga. And so that's based on the frequency list that was put together around, I think that iteration was around 2010-ish, like very ish. And then he based his PhD work on reordering it for learners, or like exploring like what the most useful order to learn words was for Japanese learners. His PhD was very technical, and it was a bit of a slug to read the relevant bits, but just because of the technical vocabulary that, you know, it's not really my forte. So he's actually working, as far as I'm aware, he's working on a new updated frequency list with the national, I think the acronym is NINJAL, and I don't remember what all the words stand for. So I would say that if you did, if you took my vocabulary test, or if you wanted to test yourself on the frequency list, just a yes/no test kind of thing, your results from that would still be relatively useful for these Sakura graded readers, because the majority of the corpus that goes into the NINJAL frequency list is based on printed materials, which, according to Matsushita, tend to have a more stable shelf life compared to things like from like magazines or Twitter and that kind of thing. So you will get less of the you'll get less of the issues with, you know, new slang coming in and out of fashion, and you'll have more vocabulary that is going to be useful for you to know for a reasonable amount of time. Yeah. I would recommend using the JLEX, the frequency list, like testing yourself on that, and the JLEX tool to sort of help you find text. But of course, then you still have to like worry about actually going through.
So for anyone
like,
else, JLEX is kind of a profiler, so that you can see
profiling,
what kind of vocabulary band the different words in a text are.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot more useful than the English version, because it goes up to the most frequent 20,000 words, 20,000 lexemes, sorry, for Japanese, which should cover like 99% of text, really. Yeah, so it's quite useful, yeah.
Very interesting. Thank you. It was very nice to have something that's actually very useful for all of us, I'm sure. Now, if anybody has any other things, I actually have two more that I would quite like to do. But Pat,
yeah, I've got one that I'd like to share.
Yep.
So so the series is called Grassroots Photo Stories, and kind of reaching back to what Jackie was saying about adult readers. And a lot of times there's this gap between the content that they want to read and the linguistic abilities that they have to read. So especially people that are starting to learn English again in their 50s or something like that. So Alex and Jenny and all of them getting on their bikes and finding the new boat and everything. It maybe doesn't resonate with somebody that's over 40 as much. But I found that this series is linguistically incredibly simple. Basically 2 to 7 word sentences, 1 sentence per page. This is Joan, or I'm Joan. We have 2 kids. Beth is 5 and James is 4. Scott is a truck driver. He goes on long trips. We need the money, but our kids need their dad. I work part-time. Beth goes to kindergarten. James goes to the sitter. After work, I take my kids to the park. They love to play in the sand. Sometimes my friend Dan sits with me. Dan says, my kids are going camping. Please, Mom, shouts Beth. Can we go camping too? I say, we can go when Dad gets home. They start to cry. I want to go now. It's not fair. Dad's never home. Dan says, come on, it'll be fun. I look at the kids. Okay, the kids cheer. That night, Scott phones. Beth speaks to him first. She tells him about the camping trip. Scott wants to speak with me. What's going on? He asked. Who is this Dan? Nothing is going on, I say. Dan and I are just good friends. Don't you trust me? Scott slams down the phone. Scott's mad at me. I feel bad about that. But why should I spoil things for the kids? And that's the end.
Wow.
I was really worried it was going to get really dark there towards the end.
Yeah.
So I never imagined that a
Wow.
book could go that deep with sentences that simple.
Mm.
And your
Yeah.
reaction, Jackie, I was reading this with a student just last week.
Yeah.
Right about the same page, he just starts saying, Yaba.
Yes, I was
So
thinking,
involuntarily reacting. It's like, oh my,
yeah,
this is
like,
not going to turn.
this is not going to end well.
Mm.
I'm glad it
Oh.
did. Well, we don't know, I guess.
I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know what kind of person Scott is.
So
Or Dan, for that
kind of,
matter.
I think it ends at a place where it can be still a little bit open, which is nice because you can talk about it afterwards.
You might need to debrief some people.
But
Uh-huh.
this whole series,
Mm.
I mean, they have some things that are in this vein. They have some that are a little bit pithy. They have some that are a little bit about nature. But in general, 100 words or less.
Mm.
And every page has a photograph to support it. So
They're all photos, like real, not
yes,
illustrations or something.
so all kind of staged photographs. One other one that I remember is a woman that has trouble saying no, and she has so many different people asking her for help to do this, do that, and she's trying to please everybody, and she just gets to a point where she can't anymore.
Mm.
And she says no, and people get angry with her, and she kind of pushes through that to the point where she has her own space. And it's like, they were able to do this in 100 words.
Mm.
Is this a Kindle ebook or what's the how to get it?
I access it through X Reading, but I think they're a Canadian publisher.
Okay.
So this series, if I understand correctly, is not for second language learners. It's for adult native speakers who never learned to read.
Ah,
Mm.
literacy training. Okay. That's very
Yeah.
interesting. I quite like the
Ah.
idea. It's very similar to a very simple comic book, but because it's photos, it does make it a little bit more adult. So that would be a lot more accessible for adults.
And I think they were being written with adults in mind.
Mm.
So I
Yeah.
think that
No,
also
that one
helped
clearly
subject
was.
Clearly, yes.
Clearly.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's not about kids camping. Not at all. Yeah. It's
And
just
I
oh,
think you can order the set or like parts of the set. I think it's maybe like the what is it, humor set of 8 books or the nature set of 8 books. So I think they are for sale.
Okay.
do they all end on this like sort of like and now discuss? Or was that just for this book?
I think it might happen a little bit more than some other books just by virtue of it being so short.
Mm, right.
So but
Okay.
it doesn't seem to be part of their style of like, we're going to bring it to this discussion point and then cut it. So I think
Oh, I
it's
see.
just because it's a super short book, they end up having to cut it at some point that it, in a lot of ways, is still open-ended.
Right. That's what I meant. Like there isn't an ending to this, right? I mean, it could go in
Mhm.
several directions, and so I was wondering if that's like a feature or characteristic of this kind of series or
Well,
publisher
I think
or
for a couple other ones, it had a little bit more of a little bit more closure to it.
okay.
And
Okay.
of course, the humor focused ones, they close with the punchline.
Sure. Right,
And
right. Okay.
the humor ones are basically elaborate dad jokes.
Oh no.
It's kind of,
Right.
yeah, it's humor, but it's not that funny.
Right, right, right. Yes. But if you're you're a native speaker of that language and you're just learning to read, if that was the focus, then it would be very accessible, right? And
Exactly.
you would have the context and the underlying, story. So that would help.
And I
So,
think
oh, interesting
it might
series.
lend itself to this type of project work if you're doing
Mm,
something with students, because it's something they could easily take photos with their smartphone
mm, mm,
to make a short story about something.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yes, I've just
Oh,
checked. They have them available in paperback form on Amazon.com, not on Amazon.co.jp.
mm,
So
mm.
you can buy them there, or you can buy a PDF digital version directly from their website. So
It's Canadian publisher, you said, or American?
there's an American flag
So
on the website about us. Hang on.
I might be
Grass
getting confused with a different.
Grassroots. It was
Grassroots Press.
Grassroots Press. Right?
I can't see anything that says
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
USA. Yeah, it is US.
Mhm, mhm. Okay.
That's
Oh,
really good.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
thanks.
those.
Ah,
Yeah.
Oddly enough, they have another series of biographies.
Mm.
The biographies are much, much, much more difficult and incredibly long.
Mm.
They're around 12 to 13,000 words.
Well, that's quite a
So
jump.
it's like
It's a bit of a jump.
like it's hard to imagine that
Right.
it's the same publisher making these two things.
Wow.
Wow. Wow. And the level is quite a bit different as well, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah, right,
I'm
right.
assuming there is something between the two.
Hope so. Yeah.
Mm,
It's like you've learned
But
how to read, now go for
I
it.
think they're meant for different people, really.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm,
different.
mm, mm.
So I don't think they necessarily have kind of a bridge series in between.
Oh, so
Just kind of
not.
like, whoa, all of a sudden this is,
Oh, right.
because I was kind
There's
of hoping they would have really simple biographies,
mm, mm.
but they were kind of like up with Collins and stuff like that.
Right, right.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, really interesting. That's really good. Thank you.
Well, let me jump in with my last two. This series, this is the Culture Readers Food from Seed Learning. You can get these through Trialogue, and this has been probably the most popular series at my school ever, possibly.
Really?
It is absolute. They did not make it to the shelves. There is a pile in the hallway, and people just have read them all. And when I say all levels, I've had grade 2 kids through to adults. Everyone has read every single one of these books. They are not difficult. They're all, even though they are graded, there are 4 levels, but there's not a huge difference between the low, well, I suppose there is between maybe the lowest, but they're all very readable. So, for example, foods from South Africa, and it's really, it's not a lot. The word count is under 1,000, so that's also very good for reticent readers who want to feel like they're achieving something. Everybody's interested in food, so in every week it's like, what country next? What country next? France, Morocco. They all love reading the Japan one, of course. But it is such a good series. Just the subject matter is just so perfect. I mean, Japan, everybody loves food probably more than anywhere else in the world. So I would highly, highly recommend a set of those for any library. So yes, 600 words, level 3 is 800 words, and up to 1,000 words for level 4. But really, really good. So that's Culture Readers Foods from Seed Learning. And then the last one that I had, which is the Oxford In Fact series. And just so that we've got the big publisher covered as well, though of course Penguin is. 2 of my favorites from this series. Yep. So yes, we've got burps, scabs, and smells, and these are geared towards kids, but I think any age can really find out, why do I have wax in my ears? What makes me burp? It's very gentle. The YL, the Yomiasisa level, is about a 1.2, so it's really pitched towards the majority of our students probably that we would see. So yes, burps, scabs, and smells, that's a level 10. And then a level 11, I particularly like this one, top 10 worst jobs in history. And no, English teaching in Japan is not on the top list, but it does have like scarecrow, human scarecrow, and each one has like a little dial up here about how terrible the job is. It's a oh no meter. Bearable, horrible, and truly horrible are the different ones there. Scarecrow, a tanner's apprentice. So getting the furs and urine and trying to mash it around. Pickpocket, bit of Charles Dickens stuff going on there. Gong farmer's child. This really interesting historical jobs. Maid servant is another. A powder monkey, being the poor little kid who puts the gunpowder into the cannon. Not a very yes. There's quite a lot of accidents with that one. So yeah, it's really interesting, not just for kids, though that is definitely what it's been written for, native level English speaking kids, but definitely able to be read by different groups, because it's just very, very interesting. So yes.
So these are meant for These are meant for native speakers
This is Oxford
of
Reading
the.
Tree, Oxford Reading Tree material, the Oxford In Fact series. They actually have Oxford In Fact, and they also have Oxford Treetops In Fact. So
Oh,
after you've got the Oxford Reading Trees, your basic, and then they have the Treetops, which is the higher level books, and they have fiction and non-fiction. And then they also have this In Fact series, which is really, really good. And also having more options for non-fiction readers, I think is really, really important. And because it's colourful and interesting, it's also really suitable for even for adults. So yeah, that would be my suggestion there.
Hey, nice. Thank you so much.
There we
Right.
go.
Really. Yeah.
So that's quite a range
Yes,
of
I was
things.
just thinking the same thing. Oh, wow.
So I think I'll end the recording there, and so we can share this with others. Thank you,
Alrighty.
everybody, and see
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.